There we go. Sorry.
New computer, who dis? Hey everyone, welcome to Monday Night Live.
We are live on Facebook and on YouTube.
Yes, we are. We are just covering all our bases tonight. We're a little loopy. It's been a long day. It's been a Monday for sure. So I'm Abby. I'm Jason. Nope. You do it.
Yeah,
you
do
it.
I'm Abby. You're Jason.
Go for it.
I'm Jason.
I'm be over
That's
here.
Abby.
Right here.
Each week we come to you on Monday nights. Most weeks we come to you on Monday nights. Some weeks we don't. Most weeks we come to you on Monday nights to just talk about whatever. We always have a topic. We have a topic this week. It's about solar, but the topic is just the way to start a conversation. We're really here to chat with you guys and answer questions and
just hang out. And so this topic, the solar topic for this week, has actually been one of the hottest topics on Jason and I's daily walks around the campground. If you ever want to know what it's like to hang out with Jason and Abby at the campground, it will involve at least 2 to 3 strolls around the campground every single day.
Mark loves the intro.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
because I feel like it's like, oh, it's so intense. Jason and Abby we're like the Avengers or something. That's just not at
Michael
all.
would like to know if I took any office calls this week.
No,
but I just got off an hour and 10-minute call with.
He did. He took an
It
office
was a
call.
great call, but
he took it outside. Thank goodness. Yes, all of his office calls these days happen outside the RV. So.
Hello, JM Montana. Hello, Southern Indiana, Mark.
Wow, look at this.
Hello, Colorado.
We are just covering all the states.
Yes, Brian, except when things go very, very, very wrong.
Yes. And
See, another vote for the intro. See?
Where are my people
Abby does not like the music at all.
I do not like the music. It's so intense. I said this last week. I feel like it is setting a precedence that I cannot live up to. I am just not that cool.
It's ironic, all right? It's over the top for us sitting in our camp chairs.
It's definitely something.
Amanda's in Michigan. We've got John in Delaware. Imagine your Odyssey.
We got everyone.
Hello, welcome.
It gets really exciting as the weeks go by to see more and more states
Texas,
popping up. So
Maryland.
Thank you all
Utah,
so much for sharing.
Arizona.
Okay. Are we going to talk over each
other?
Should
we do every name?
Because you know that's our biggest number one complaint, that we talk over each other.
We interrupt each other.
Yes, we get that a lot. And we were working on it. And then apparently somebody was like, not tonight, we're not.
Rick says 4 out of 5 Great Lakes prefer Michigan. It's true.
They do.
It's true.
They do. So tonight's topic, we're going to dive right into it while all of you are still letting us know where you're coming from. And we're going to do our best to grab questions as they come up. But you know what? Keep them going. Next week, before we jump into the topic, let's just go ahead and say next week is up in the air. Because next week is next Monday is a travel day for us.
A longer travel day.
It's about 250 miles that day. So I can't guarantee that we're going to be in any kind of shape for Monday Night Live next week, but we will do our best. And really,
maybe it'll be from the vehicle.
I'm done with those. It'll really depend actually on how fast we get out of here. Maybe this should have been this week's topic, because one of the things that happens for the Eppersons is when we are in one location for a long period of time and we're here for 2 weeks, we get out like all the things.
Yeah.
It's just all the things come out. I mean, behind us, the slack line is up, which has been such a great thing for the kids to have and be able to come out here and jump all that energy. And it's really hilarious to watch Jason try to walk it as well. But all the things are out. So
Sorry, we left. We're back.
We're back now.
Sorry, I accidentally hit back on the.
Yeah, let's not play with any more buttons.
Well, I'm trying to. My dad commented. I'm mentioning that. Hi, Dad. I was going to bring up some other comments. I'm sorry about that, guys. So
yeah, so we're going to try to get out of here at by 10 a.m. next week in hopes of being at our destination by 4 or 5 o'clock at the latest. But like I said, we have a ton of stuff out right now. And it's been really nice because we've actually been able to set up, just it feels very homey here. And we've been doing a lot of work outside, which has been the weather has been spectacular. Last night's low was only 61. And so we had the door open and the windows open. And today it's been just in the low 70s. I mean, the weather has been for just spectacular, which for us Midwesterners in November is, we're just soaking it all up. So, but that should probably, are you done playing with all the buttons now? Can we have you come join the conversation?
we are I was waiting for you. I didn't want to interrupt you. I was waiting for a moment. So we're coming from the state of Arkansas, the great state of Arkansas, which was actually the first real state that we visited when we hit the road 4 years ago. And we were blown away with it because it's a highly underrated state. A lot of people don't think of it as a big travel destination, but there's a lot of beauty in the Ozarks of Arkansas in particular. And so this last week we got to go climb Mount Magazine, which is like
it's Arizona's tallest.
It's Arkansas's highest point. It's actually the highest point in like a 5-6 state area. But it was really beautiful. It was for my birthday. I had a great birthday day. And by the way, anybody that has wished me a happy birthday on social media, I haven't been able to just respond to everybody, but thank you. But we had a wonderful day and got to see the leaves changing here have been gorgeous. And we're camping right here on a river, on the Arkansas River. There's a bridge behind us there. You can see.
It's nice. It's nice to be somewhere where we don't want to leave because we are really trying to just stay at our campsite, stay in the campground, only go like we did this hike where we can be outside and things like that, because we are on our way to spend the holidays with my parents and his parents. And so, which we're thrilled about. We haven't seen them since the beginning of the year.
Speaking of, here's Dave.
There's my dad. Dave. There's my dad. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing my dad in just a week and seeing my mom in just a week. The kids ask us every single day, when are we going to Nana and Papa's? So they're very, very excited to be going there. We have some questions already about solar. So let's dive in. If you're a solar user, let us know. If you have questions about solar, we're not experts by any
so here's our thing.
Means,
like we love to boondock, and we just do it generally on battery power and generator power.
Just what good old Pioneer came with.
But as many of you who have been following us for a while know, somebody stole our generator a couple months ago.
Yep.
So we're trying to decide, do we want to replace the generator? We could use our old generator that's at my dad's house, which we probably will grab. But we could replace our Predator generator, which was great because it could run our air conditioning and stuff, or we could spend that money on doing some solar work, upgrading batteries, that sort of stuff, which is considerably more expensive than a new generator. But obviously the benefits are great, that you can sort of charge the batteries under the sun. The problem the thing we're discussing, this is why it's sort of a dilemma for us, is that this RV is not going to be our RV for a very long time. I mean, we're planning on probably trading up in the next year or two.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want to get, poor Michael, I've just left this sitting up here this whole time. Yeah. Do you want to grab that comment or question?
So Michael is asking about solar prep and what solar prep is, because a lot of RVs are sold with solar prep. The big thing over the last few years was they're sold with solar prep, and now they're starting to sell them with solar, but it's like the most limited.
So
it's like one 100 watt panel, which costs them like $90 to install.
What is that even going to charge?
Anyway, solar prep generally means they've ran a couple wires, right? They have made a port in your roof so that when somebody So it's really a benefit for the dealerships, right? So that when you buy an RV, that dealership can then easily install solar panels on your roof without having to, drill holes in the roof and all that sort of stuff. So, it's sold as an upgrade. It's really not a big upgrade. It's sort of like backup camera prep. It's just to sell backup cameras, but it can help. It's annoying to have to drill a hole in your roof. So really, it is generally a couple wires ran to your electrical area from the roof. Sometimes it might include a solar charger. But in order to have a solar system, what you need is solar panels. You need a solar charger, and then you need your batteries, which you already have. But generally, people upgrade their batteries in order to store more power in relationship to the size of their solar system.
Yeah. So a lot of people are jumping in here. A lot of people really like Arkansas, which is very cool to read. So before we go on with solar, I'm just going to say, no, we're not going to go diamond digging. That has been hugely recommended to us. It's not in the cards this trip. We really are, outside of that one hike we did for Jason's birthday on Friday, we're pretty much just hanging out at the campground, which is why we're so pleased to have such a lovely campsite to begin with. Someone did ask if we were in the path of the storms that are coming up through the Gulf. As far as I know, that's not going to really impact us.
We're supposed to get thunderstorms in the morning, but it's not supposed to be intense.
Yeah. So someone had also asked if we hiked Pinnacle Mountain. No, I'm not even sure I actually know.
Basically what we did, we drove up to the top of Mount Magazine, which again is the highest point in Arkansas. And there's a beautiful lodge up there, like brand new, beautiful lodge. The vistas are gorgeous. The vista up there rivals a lot of the vistas that you see in like the Great Smoky Mountains. I think it's like similar sort of view to that.
It was, well, because we were over by the lodge too, and from the lodge you look down and it's called Blue River, I think is what it's running there. And it does. It looks like that whole outlook just has that hazy bluish kind of hue to it. And it's really lovely. I was really surprised by how beautiful the view was. And also, we're just in a really good time of year. I mean, I think the colors had popped maybe a week before we got up there, because most of it up there was brown and a lot of it had already fallen to the ground, which is what is starting to happen here. But I could absolutely see wanting in, a different time in a couple years from now, whenever, going and staying at that lodge. I also noticed there was a campground up there that we were really interested in, but it was a really beautiful area. I mean, Arkansas is the natural state, and we keep being, reminded of that, like every time we have the pleasure of being here, which is not often, but it did really get me longing for the Buffalo River, which is a really special place to me. And now I'm already thinking about how we can get back to Arkansas in 2021 and get ourselves on the river, because I would love to do that.
So back to solar. The big question for us about solar is, do we put that money into this rig that we might be selling within the next year or two? Or do we set up, do we get like a portable system, like a ground deploy setup, that we can point anywhere, but we have to like haul around and find ways to store it?
Rick answered it for you. He just says you should just get a truck.
Well,
Rick, you consistently keep putting these little thoughts, these little nuggets in Mr. Epperson's head.
I do want that F-150.
The price goes cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
How many solar setups can I get for the cost of the new F-150 with the hybrid engine? But
I mean, we're already talking about getting a new truck, but holy moly, I think I've finally decided I don't think we can go down to a half-ton truck. I think we've got to stick with a heavy-duty truck, and that's where we got to be. So hopefully one day they'll offer those built-in generator hybrid engines in the heavy-duty trucks. But you know what, I that was like won't, but I know that whatever it is will be amazing. Howard would like to know, what do you think about solar ready motorhome with 1 or 2 panels?
I think you meant a solar ready motorhome.
Okay, what do you think about a solar ready motorhome with 1 or 2 panels plugged
I mean, I think it's an awesome way to charge your batteries. I think a lot of people have expectations for solar that can't be met, but as long as you understand what the limitations of a small solar system are, like I think 200 to 300 watts of solar would actually do a lot for us, because really we're fine with not being able to turn the TV on, the microwave on.
Oh yeah, we don't need those
on.
things. I mean, one of our biggest discussions as we go on our daily walk is, do we buy solar that we're going to put on the trailer? Because we just don't know. We're back and forth on how much longer we're going to hold on to Ranger Gandalf Trailey the second working title. Like, we just don't know. Like, is it going to be 3 months? Another year? The boys are still comfortable in their room, but they would love a little bit more space. How much longer can Jason and I sleep in an RV queen mattress? I mean, at some point I would really like to be able to fully stretch out my legs.
It's not about the RV queen. It's about that there's a wall at the end of our RV queen.
Yeah, I mean,
that our feet get crunched up on.
It's like the bed and the wall. And there's just unless you go that way, you're not stretching out. And so that's the question. So, that's our biggest, like, do we go and put all of this on here? And how much longer are we going to, be in there? And I would love to hear from people who have done that. And then what your thought process was with that. Like, were you putting the solar on and thinking, this is an RV I want to have for the next 5-10 years? Were you like, I just want it. I don't care how long I have the RV, whatever. But I'm just really curious about that, because that's been kind of our biggest back and forth, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, like, if we feel like we're going to have a generator with us regardless, we don't run it to like run our air conditioner and stuff all day or anything like that. But like, just to recharge our batteries, if we're going to have a generator that we have to run every other day for a couple hours to charge our batteries, is the cost worth it? As somebody I think mentioned, of getting the solar system, especially if we need the generator anyway for whatever reason, because it could be rainy and cloudy for several days, like, and if we don't have any way to power ourselves in those situations, that could be a problem.
So I want to grab Russell swears by Victron products. So he's giving a good shout out to that company. I actually don't really know solar companies. So
yeah, Victron's a great brand.
That's your wheelhouse. I fully admit that. Here's a question. Randy says, we just bought new battery, but it's not holding a charge. That's unfortunate. Lithium battery, but she's heard that for cold weather. Have you heard that?
Yeah. So here's the deal with lithium and cold weather. They're give a shout out to one of our competitors, the RV podcast. Mike Wendland did an interview with.
Just call them a competitor.
Yeah.
They're just over there doing their thing. Let them do their thing.
No, I'm giving them a plug. They did an interview with Battleborn Batteries talking about this exact issue. The thing about lithium in the cold is that all batteries are not great in the cold. First of all, put that out there. Not all batteries reduce efficacy as it gets colder.
I'm not great in the cold.
The challenge with lithium batteries is in the very cold, like I'm not sure what temperatures, but like once you get below freezing, you can't charge them. So it's not necessarily about not being able to use that battery power, but it's that they can't take a charge. But sometimes, they have battery warmers that go on them, and sometimes they have built-in circuitry that keeps them from charging when they're too cold. But then as the temperature warms up, they warm up. But lithium batteries have come a long way. There's been so much investment by the automotive industry in lithium batteries that they're going to be the standard in the next couple of years, for sure.
So I would agree with this, and I would argue this.
They're expensive, though.
A little bit. Like, I think you can justify the cost of a solar system, but I think justify the cost is a very broad term that just depends on
your solar system could cost $400. It could cost $9,000.
Right.
It just depends on what you get and what you get in return out of it. Like, a lot of people do that math and they're like, can I replace the power that I'm using right now? A lot of people will tell you that you need to, like, put a device on your trailer or your RV to let you know how much power you need to use in a day at a campground, and then that's how much solar that you need. You do the math for the solar and batteries and how long you can charge with it in a day in whatever climate, at whatever angle the sun is at that year or that time of year, and you can figure out how much solar you need. Well, for us using solar, we know there's going to be sacrifices. I mean, it's just like normally when we're boondocking, we're not going to be using our trailer in the same way we would in a campground hooked up to electricity, or the same way we would if we turned the generator on and let it run for 8 hours. Really, for us, it's about being able to charge our computers and to have the lights turn on.
Yeah.
That's
and
really
this is really, Russell's kind of hit on what we've really been discussing and thinking about doing, and getting a portable panel and just kind of playing with it a little bit and seeing how it works for us in our lifestyle. Because I know you've mentioned already that we really do want to start boondocking more. And we just need a little bit more power in order to make things like Monday Night Live happen, make work happen, make fetch happen.
I gotta go through and like rewire some stuff too. Like there are there are a couple. We have a couple USB ports in our RV they're the old slow charging kind, so they take forever to charge anything. We have other USB ports that, for whatever reason, are ran off of the AC system. So they only, even though they're USB is DC power, they only work when you're plugged in at a campground or running off the generator, because they're like on the couch and they're plugged into an outlet behind the couch.
Yeah, it's
silly.
Weird.
So
That's
I can easily rewire those to be able to be used off our battery system. I've got to do a little bit of that stuff. That's
and
sort
all
of the
that
bigger
free
job.
Time you have.
But again, it's the thing is, like, how much do we want to put into this RV that we don't know how long we're going to keep? Yeah. So yeah, a portable system might be the way to go, but then it's all about where do we put it? Does it go in the back of the truck with us? Do we?
Oh my goodness!
We have no pass-through storage, very little pass-through storage for something like that. So there are challenges that come up with it. So that we're thinking about it and we're trying to figure it out. But I think we're probably going to get a little portable system.
So Peter has a question here, and he wants to know if we're satisfied with our battery monitor. So it looks like he's saying it gets down to 60%, shuts off with low voltage. So again,
Peter, we don't have lithium batteries. We added a second lead acid battery, and that's enough for us, as long as we're not running any fans, to get us a couple days, and that's what we have right now. So
yeah, and we have, again, as we've talked about solar, the discussion has also been
our rig.
Do we get lithium batteries?
Right. Our rig is totally stock. So we just have the stock battery monitor built in with the lead acid batteries, and that's what we do. But I do think it's time to expand on that, and that's something that we can do. We can get a couple lithium batteries and we can take those with us.
Yeah, and again, for us, there is, over the year and almost year and a half we've had this rig, there has been kind of this fun sort of challenge we've given ourselves. Like, how can we just exist on what we were given? Like, how do we make that work? And that's fun for like 2 or 3 days of boondocking, but that's not fun anymore. You got to talk, because I just swallowed. Go for that. That's disgusting.
I don't know where it went. Somebody mentioned one of the nice things about lithium batteries is that you can store them. You can have them be inside. So like, like they could be under our bed, for instance, in sort of the back area where it's hard to reach, because they don't release gas. They're also lighter. So that's a nice thing that you can do. And then a lot of people will take where the battery, if you have a trailer and you have the tongue where the battery storage is, you can remove that storage and you can put, they make storage bins that fit right in there, and then you can have like tongue storage where you could throw in your power cable or sewer hoses or whatever you would want to put up there.
I'm very thankful to have somebody sitting next to me that knows so much about this stuff, because, you know, I can say this is what I really think we need in order to be a little bit more successful with our boondocking and extend our days. Because really, I mean, I'm sure there's ways we could figure it out, but we figure we've got about 5 days with the tanks as they are with a family of 5. And then we're probably going to be getting into territory where, you know, we might need to think that we're going to have to go and dump soon, but
we don't even have an inverter.
No, we got nothing. We haven't done anything on this RV.
I don't think, I keep trying to think what we have a need for an inverter for. And I don't think we have a need for an inverter. Everything we have is DC powered, unless we wanted. The only thing an inverter would gain us is the ability to watch TV, which we could get a DC powered TV, but we don't
care that much about TV.
We have our computers, and if we want to watch something on our computers, we can do that.
But I mean, to be honest too, and this is, you know, this is where we're at. Like, so a year and a half into owning this RV, and we are just now in a place in life for us personally where we can think about these things, because shortly after we bought that RV, got back out on the road, Jason got sick. And so a lot of these choices that we would have made within the first few, you know, weeks or months of owning the RV, we couldn't make because we were just, you know, trying to keep Jason alive. And then, you know, that continued on through 2020. And then 2020, we get back on the road, and then boom, smack, COVID hits just 2-3 weeks after getting back on the road. And then we're sitting in place in a private campground. And then a lot of 2020 for us ends up being kind of moving very, very slow month rates at a time at different campgrounds. And so once we got to a place where we started moving, that we wanted to do more boondocking or be in places where these things would be a question, we're sitting here going, we've had this thing for, you know, 16, 17 months now. What's the reality if we go through and do all this work to it, that we're going to be in it a year from now? Would it be better to just sit on all of this, see how the rest of 2020 and into 2021 goes, and then move forward? I mean, you know, welcome to our never ending conversation. You know, it's just always like, what's the next step? And, you know, our between the truck and the trailer, it's like every single day we're talking about this conversation, almost to the point where it's like, we should just get rid of both and get new ones.
Yeah, so we'll probably do some sort of portable system. I think we'll probably do something like that over the holidays, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, like I said, we're pretty simple people. We just don't have a. We're just fine if we can.
I'm just a caveman. Your strange and unusual solar panels frighten me.
The biggest thing about this conversation is can we go without a generator on a small portable system and be able to boondock a lot where there might be weather issues, where there might be trees and stuff? Probably not. So the generator probably has to happen. So do we spend the money on both? That's the big.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm reading all of your comments and suggestions, and you're all sharing with us like what you're doing. And that's awesome. And thank you so much.
We'll go back and read through all of that.
Yeah. I wish I had time to pop everybody's comment up and answer it, but we'd be sitting here for like 3-4 hours. But, you know, there's some really, really good stuff in here. So even if you've asked a question, or even if you're curious, go back and read what like some other people were doing. You know, I think Danielle was just saying that they boondocked for like 10 months last year just with their solar, you know, and that's something that we're really, really interested in too, is it's just more of the kind of camper we are. We've been really thankful for those private campgrounds in 2020, but we are really looking to get a little bit more space between us and our neighbors, or just get a little bit more closer to nature, I should say.
And I think it's going to be a concern next year too. You know, I mean, it could be a concern.
Yeah, I mean,
with
we'll
campground
see.
Availability in some of the more popular places.
So yeah, someone who's been tracking this put the generator from your dad's in. Yeah, I mean, we'll probably go ahead and snag that from Tammy and Ed when we see them. If we, hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be working again. Just so that we have it and then go from there. But I feel like, and I see this from a lot of you on here, and y'all are great, is that we should start small, because who really, do any of us know what we're even going to be doing next week? Like at this point, like I have no idea.
I know what we're going to be doing next week.
I know where we're
going to be driving.
I know where we will be. Do I know what we will be doing? Absolutely not.
Hey, so I just want to give a shout out to, now that we've been putting these out on YouTube for a few weeks now, I want to give a shout out to anybody that has a YouTube channel, or if you have like a social media presence that you want to share of your travels, please feel free to drop that in the comments and let people know.
This is a community here. So, and we're a community that supports each other and encourages each other in travels. And so if we love to check out what other people are doing, you inspire us. And so please, drop it in there. And if you're looking for new channels, maybe you'll find one in this thread today. But as we're starting to move away a little bit from solar. So feel free, if you've got any other questions about anything, you are more than welcome to drop them in there and ask.
That.
Oh, I forget that we have that.
Magic words. Ask us anything.
Fancy.
So if you do, ask us any questions you have, any comments that you have, and we'll try to, answer them for you.
Yeah. Thank you, William. That's very, very kind of you to say that. And then again, thanks to the folks who are answering along with the Eversons. See, again, it's all about community. It's great.
Yeah, and if you haven't joined us over in the RV Miles Facebook group, there's a lot more of this that happens over there. So you could feel free to head over to the RV Miles Facebook group and join up.
It's so interesting when I think like how we were pretty smooth sailing last week. Like our words were rolling pretty smooth. We weren't tripping all over ourselves. And today we are just tripping all over ourselves. I feel like my brain is not working at the same pace that my mouth is working. It was
a weekend of a lot of work.
It was, that's the thing. Like we, because we took Friday off for Jason's 40th birthday, that meant that we postponed RV Miles podcast, See America podcast, and America's National Parks by a whole day. And so that everything just got so screwed up over the weekend. So, yesterday, Jason and I were both writing podcast episodes, and then we were recording them. And then Jason was up editing 2 out of the 3 podcasts last night till 3:00 in the morning. So we're a little bit loopy today. But with that said, I'm really, it's like raining leaves right now. I'm really stoked about this week's See America, because it was about the first, I just got a leaf in my mouth. It's about the first bank robbery as us being a new nation. And it was really, really fascinating to find that bit of information out. So if you're curious, and I'll tell you what, it didn't happen in the Wild Wild West. No. It did not happen in the Wild Wild West, despite what some historians might say. It actually happened before the turn of the 19th century. So you should go check that out if you haven't found See America already.
Right, let's answer some questions. First of all, thank you for the happy birthday mentions. Not sure, look at the Jackery unit and have a 12 volt and 110 volt for TV that can be used for the picnic table if you have solar on a new trailer. We're thinking about getting some sort of little portable battery thing, mainly for like the filming and video stuff that we do as well. Booking campgrounds in 2021, how crowded will it be? It's
your guess is as good as ours.
I think
we're split on this.
I think we feel it's not going to be as bad as this year was, but it's still going to be worse than it has been, particularly in the very popular areas. All these new RVers are going to want to go to the most popular national park sites and all that sort of stuff. So if you're willing to not go to the most popular areas, I think you'll still be able to find a lot. For instance,
you won't see RV miles at the Grand Canyon.
For instance, we got a press release from South Dakota State Parks that said that South Dakota State Parks had their busiest bookings in September ever. It was crazy for them. Now, we spent 2 weeks in September in a South Dakota State Park where we had at Angostura Recreation Area, where we rarely had anybody in the whole campground loop with us. So it really just depends a lot on where you're going.
Yeah. I just want to throw this out here. Thank you for listening. I'm so glad you found it interesting because I just wanted to jump back.
I like the national parks.
I wrote that one. Oh my gosh, that bug is enormous. This is the one thing though about getting back into the South and the Midwest is that the bugs are big. And they are friendly, and I don't like big friendly bugs. Michael
wants to know what kind of truck we have, what engine. We have a Ram 2500 with the 5.7 Hemi gas engine. And, at the size of trailer that we have, I think we're happy to stick with gas. We're fine with the gas, but I do wish we had the bigger Hemi engine. They actually don't put the 5.7 in the heavy duty trucks anymore. So I think we got one of the last years they put the smaller 5.7 in it. So I think we are looking at, we talked about this many times on Monday Night Live recently, but we are looking at upgrading our truck here eventually. We're not brand snobs, so we might go with another Ram. We might go with the Ford, their new 7.3 liter gas engine.
Here's the thing. We keep saying what I find so interesting is we switched to a gas engine for a bunch of different reasons. But one of them was we'd had the bus for so long and it was diesel, and diesel prices were really, really expensive. And
now they're not.
Cost. Right. We go and we get that gas truck and diesel be like,
yeah.
We had a situation just recently where diesel was cheaper than unleaded. And I looked at you and I was like, you have got to be kidding. I said, if we had Wanderbus right now with that 100-gallon tank, I'd be like filling up for days.
And I know there's a lot of truck owners on here, and I know a lot of people are diesel fans, and I'm too. It's just the cost. Gosh, the cost is just...
We're just tired of taking care of
$10,000 on top of the base price to get a diesel. For the size of trailer now, if we had a bigger trailer, I'd be all about it. But for the size of trailer we have, gas engine does absolutely fine.
Yeah. So we've got another one. Would you ever recommend a pop-up A-frame? I've heard good and bad about them.
Everybody that I've talked to that owns one, when we run into somebody in a campground that has one,
they're cute.
They love talking about them.
Yes.
They speak very highly of them. And I think if you're,
and I pine over them.
Right. I think if you're comparing it to, canvas pop-ups, they're probably better. They're sturdier. It's a hard frame. They're certainly more expensive. But then if you're comparing it to a hard-sided trailer,
it just
I don't know how much you get out of that, because it doesn't get lighter when it folds down, right? It gets smaller, but you don't have a lighter trailer when you fold it down. Yeah, I'm back and forth on whether I would want one as opposed to a small hard-sided travel trailer, but as opposed to a canvas pop-up, maybe.
Yeah. So we have a question about how's our gas mileage with Ramo? Yes, the truck is named Ramo.
It's about 9 miles a gallon.
That when we have the trailer.
When we're towing, about 9 miles a gallon.
And also that's really subject to the part of the country that we're in, because I would say when we were in Colorado,
well, sure, yeah,
it was more like 5, 6.
It's driver dependent as well. We just
really, because you're the only one who drives it. So if it's driver
dependent, I'm the only one that drives it when I'm towing. I'm talking about the gas mileage when I'm not towing.
Oh,
I'll be starting that mileage mark go over and be like, why is it at 11 miles per gallon?
You know what?
I was getting 18.
I see you. I see what you're doing there.
Hey, look, you make fun of me for driving slow, but I get the good gas mileage out of it.
Listen, I don't know if, oh, wow, our computer's about to die. I don't know if Dave Trabu is still here, my dad, but I'm a Trabu and we got places to be. I'll go get it.
You're
You
gonna
keep,
have
yeah,
to,
I'm going to
She doesn't want to be left
Don't
alone.
leave me here asking. They want to know things about mileage.
I was gonna
Don't leave me here.
go get the
Don't leave
battery
me alone.
charger.
No, I'll do it.
Y'all don't know big bugs. We're here in lower, slower Delaware. Put saddles on the skeeters and ride them. Hey, we've been around them. All right, we've seen mosquitoes that you can certainly that could certainly pull Santa's sleigh. Let's see.
And there we go.
Is this live or pre-recorded? Does that answer your question?
It is. It is very live. Very, very live.
All right. Suggestions for improving mileage. Terry wants to know. Here's the thing that got me to
put the pedal to the metal and just go.
Just
get there.
The best thing you can do to improve mileage is to drive at whatever the optimal speed your vehicle goes at for mileage. Usually it's going to be around like 60, 55, 60. They used to all be tuned to have their top fuel mileage right at 55. But
you're talking about towing, right?
No, and it doesn't matter. I mean,
now you understand why
we're the point in that gear range, but that's how we're back. We disappeared for a second. That's one way you can get better fuel mileage. The other thing that slowing down a bit does is it keeps you from braking too much, and braking is the things that cuts down your fuel mileage drastically. So if you're one of those people that really likes to accelerate off the line at that stoplight only to hit the brakes fairly hard at the next stoplight, you're using a lot more fuel than the person that's going slower to get there. And that's just, that's the number one thing you can do to improve fuel mileage. But for me too, the thing is, like, if you look at the amount of money you spend on fuel over the course of a year, and then and sometimes, I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's also not as much money as you might think it would be. And if you look at what you would gain by saving 2 miles a gallon, and you find out that it's like $100 over the course of the year, then it sort of feels like, well, maybe I don't care as much anymore, at least to me a bit.
So Michael has another question about driving. Do we prefer interstate driving or state highways?
A lot of RVers say they just love the blue routes, the state highways, the 2-lane highways.
Give us an interstate.
Give us an interstate
any day.
We want to get there.
Yeah. You know what? For us, it's the journey is not the best part of that.
We love a good scenic drive. Don't get me wrong. If it's
true.
a beautiful scenic drive, that's one thing. But if we're just talking about another highway that has less services and is smaller and there's no median between the vehicles coming at me, just give me the highway. And I love to be able to, because we have a gas truck. Now, this is the big downfall of having a gas truck, is that the fuel tank it gets burnt through faster, and we do have to get fuel more often than a diesel truck would. So
yeah,
we do like to be on the highways just for more access to fuel stations and all that as well.
Well, and also for us right now in this season of our life, we have 3 people in the back of the truck as well, and there's often bathroom breaks that need to happen, or we just need to stop and we need to stretch our legs, or if we're honest, I need a bathroom break. And so a lot of times we find when we're on interstates, those things happen more frequently, where if the 7-year-old says you have 30 seconds before I can no longer tell you I have to go to the bathroom, then our odds of being able to at least stop safely or come to a gas station or a rest area is greatly increased when we're on an interstate. At least that's how we have found it to be.
The other thing is, with a gas truck, this is the other big issue with the gas truck, is when we do go to those stations, we had our bus, we could use the truck stop lanes, right? because it was diesel. We could use the truck lanes in the back because it's diesel, but because it's gas, we can't. So that actually makes us like truck stops even more because of even in the front they're bigger and there's a little bit more room.
So we've actually done some of Route 66.
We've done most of Route 60. I think we've done it all.
And listen,
just in different periods.
Yeah, and I have to give a shout out. We have a friend in Chicago, a theater friend who turned 50 this year. And for his 50th birthday, that man got on a bike, started in Chicago, and biked all of Route 66.
All the way to the Santa Monica Pier.
And landed at the pier on his 50th birthday. This just happened a few weeks ago. It was awesome. And
you're crossing like 3-4 mountain ranges to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, New Mexico was not pleasant for him. No. There was a lot of daily posts complaining about New Mexico, but that was so cool to see. And Route 66 is a little special to us because being Chicagoans, I mean, I used to work in the building that you walked out the door and the sign right there said Route 66 starts here. So, Route 66 is special to us in that way. It reminds us of home, but we have done sections of it that were awesome. I mean, some of our favorite parts would be, being in Petrified Forest Petrified Forest National Park, right? Okay.
That's a place.
It is. It's a real place in Arizona.
It's going back to because we're full-time, we don't travel that far from destination to destination. Generally, we're going between 100 and 200 miles. So really, there's not usually a question for us of whether we take the interstate or a state highway or whatever. Really, it's whatever the route is, because there is one route generally to go 100, 200 miles. There's not a big choice that you might have to make if you're going 800-900 miles. Then you have like big route decisions to make, right? And there's less of that generally for us.
So here we have a question. What is the best source to find out about roads through the national parks, not campgrounds? I want to know roads that don't allow RVs. So it seems like you're maybe asking about parks where you can drive through them, parks like Mesa Verde, parks like Petrified that we just mentioned, parks like Yellowstone. That's a tough. I don't think that there's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, I think it's just the parks websites are really the only option, unfortunately.
But even then, just thinking back to Mesa Verde, and so thinking about, we went back, and I would say what I would offer, and I don't, not trying to like plug what we do, but I would say if there's a particular park that you're interested in, go to rvmiles.com and use the search menu and search that park, because if we've been there, we talked about it on the podcast. And if we talked about it on the podcast, we did talk about whether or not it's RV friendly, or whether or not we would drive an RV through that park, or did drive either our bus, our 38-foot bus, or now our trailer.
That's also a great question to ask in Facebook groups. You can come to the RV Miles Facebook group or any other Facebook groups. That's the kind of question that really is best found out from people who have like recently done it.
Right. Now, would I say, what you have a Class C 24 to 26 feet, you could probably drive a park like Mesa Verde just fine. We certainly saw some Class C's up at the top. I don't know how much they enjoyed that drive.
I would say if a park doesn't allow RVs on a certain road, they make that pretty clear on their website. Generally, all the national parks have a getting around section. That gives you the address and time and all that sort of stuff. So,
or a lot of times, if it's a park that has a campground in it, a lot of times RV access only goes as far as that campground, and then Sometimes what happens is once you pass that campground, then it's not quite as RV friendly. I mean, I'm even thinking about Theodore Roosevelt. You know, you could probably drive that in to get to the campground, but then the roads really start to shift a little bit.
There's a difference between allowed and, you know,
and should do,
and frustrating and annoying and dangerous and all that sort of stuff.
Let's grab another question. How do you guys find your campsites? Is it on a wing and a prayer? Is that the
generally it starts with we prefer state and federal campgrounds. So if we're not going to be boondocking,
first it starts with, is there an Army Corps of Engineer campground where we want to go?
It usually starts on recreation. It usually starts on recreation.gov. I'll be honest. That's people kind of hate on recreation.gov, but if you think about it in terms of like other campgrounds websites, like it's pretty good.
I'll use that any day over Reserve America. Just saying.
So you can really do a decent job of finding what, if like say you want electric in the state of Arizona, you can really tailor down to like sites that are of your length and availability in a given area on recreation.gov. So we often start there. And then if we're wanting to go to an area and we're not finding something there, then we might head over to some of the campground review websites like Campendium and campgroundreviews.com and start looking at, start using their filters about price and location and figure out what boondocking opportunities there are, what private campground opportunities there are the private campgrounds in the passable range of price, or they are the absurd $85 a night ones. That stuff matters to us.
I mean, and I don't know, you brought up county and city, right?
Well, yeah, and
because that's another thing that
we always, those are the hard ones to find. But when we do, we've often been pleasantly surprised about a lot of the very small county and city ran parks. So we'll usually find those on like Campendium, but
one of our kids' most favorite campgrounds that we've stayed at was a city campground just right on the Wisconsin-Minnesota border.
River Falls, Wisconsin, right near Minneapolis.
They still talk about that campground, and it's been 2 years since we were there. It was $15 a night. They had Wi-Fi. They were butted up right against this giant park playground. They also had their AAA baseball team's field, or maybe it was AA, I'm not sure. Their baseball field was there. It was off season, so they weren't doing games. But our kids loved it there. And it was just this tucked away little city campground. I mean, the way I paid for it was I had to write a check, put it in an envelope, and, stick it in a slot. Like right when you came in, it was first come, first served. Their Wi-Fi was fantastic. I mean, those are those hidden gems that you almost hate to talk about because you want to kind of keep their secret. But they also, at the same time, you want to say, hey, go to this campground. This city deserves your money. They deserve your business. But we've always had really, for the most part, really great experience in city and county. If you're ever wanting to go to Chicago, the Cook County Forest Preserve.
County Forest Preserves are often very good.
Yeah, they're pricey because it's like suburbs of Chicago, so it's $40 to $50 a night. But again, they're great county campgrounds that still can give you some access into Chicago as an RVer. So, that's one of the things that when, recreation.gov fails, then we go, then we head over to Campendium, and then we really have to do almost like a deep dive into the RV campground dark web.
And sometimes it will take us the better part of a day to figure out where we're going. But let's a couple more questions, and then we gotta wrap up here soon. But
what are you talking about? We're here all night. It's party time.
Do you use an app for route planning? We like road trippers for like big picture planning. Like what is our 2021 going to look like? We kind of use,
what is our summer going to look like?
Road trippers is really good for finding fun things along a route. So if you you want to go here, you want to end here, and this is the route, then it can tell you like what is within 30 miles of that route that's cool to do.
Well, and you know what I love about road trippers too, sorry, I jumped on you, but when we were really blessed over 2020 to right as right as the stuff hit the fan, we had met a family at that campground we were at, and we were really blessed to all make the decision we're just going to quarantine together so that our kids had built-in playmates and we had built-in friends. And what the mom and I did was we were able to share our road trippers calendars with each other. And so that's how she and I built what was essentially almost 7 months of travel between these two families together. That's kind of, especially over the summer, that's how we built that schedule together and kind of got an idea of where we were going to go and what we were going to do. So, it's great for individual planning, but it's also really great for group planning if you want to try and travel with multiple people.
Now, for the actual driving route, we've been using the Garmin 890 recently, and we've been really, really happy with it.
I love that thing. I love it.
But before that, we just used Google Maps, and it did it.
No, we didn't.
It did what it does.
50% of us used Google Maps. The other 50% used the only map.
The one driving the trailer used Google Maps.
Somebody wants to know if we've used RV Parky.
Everybody tells us to use the RV Parky app.
We have
never used it. I've never opened it. It is on my phone. I keep meaning to and just haven't.
Oh my gosh, I love all these questions. You guys are so great. Like I could sit here and talk to you all night long. How far ahead do you reserve your site? 1 week? Sometimes 24 hours, sometimes 4 months out. It just depends on how organized we are and where we're going. If we know it's a really, really popular area like Yellowstone, I booked that about 3 or 4 months before we arrived, which was still shocking that I was able to get anything for a 10-day window.
But a lot of the stuff on the way to Yellowstone then was like a week planned out a week ahead or 3 days ahead or whatever it might be. Usually we try not to be any less than like 3 days, but sometimes it happens.
Yeah. And so this is a really interesting question to me because Christy wants to know if we feel comfortable about not making a reservation. Christy, I used to be very, very comfortable with it pre-COVID. Post-COVID, or in this time we're living in right now, and I don't want to put labels on anything, but in the world we're living in right now, where RVing is a way for people to have the mental escape that they need, I don't feel as comfortable not having a reservation somewhere. I don't even feel as comfortable not getting to the Walmart parking lot by 6 p.m. because I'm concerned there's more of us out there right now, which means more space is being taken. Prior 2019, 2018, 2017, it wouldn't have bothered me as much.
Now that's not to say though that we haven't done it this year. And when we have, it's been about having backup plans and a
backup plan to the backup plan
and traveling on days that are less busy. So don't arrive on a Friday. We got to wrap it up there because the red light battery warning on this camera is flashing.
You know what? There's a question. RV Kids TV, we're going to come back and answer this personally because I did want to get to it and now the battery light is flashing on us. But we're going to come back and, maybe even we had actually talked about next week's topic even being about tires because we just put 4 new tires on Ranger Gandalf Trailey II. Working title, Michael, is actually its name.
It's part of the name.
It's part of the name. Like working title just is a part of the name now. So we might actually cover tires and tire pressure monitoring systems next week, but we will go back. And for those of you that asked questions and we didn't get a chance to answer them, please ask them next week. My favorite part of the live is when you ask a question and we get to talk to you about it because it continues to spark other questions. We have a topic because we just want to get things going, but really at the end of the day, we just want to talk to y'all. So bring these questions back next week. We will do our darndest to be here. We will try to get ourselves organized and on the road at a decent hour.
It may happen in a Walmart parking lot or something. I don't know.
I hope not. If we are not at my mom and dad's by 7 o'clock, we are just camping somewhere.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot.
All right, you guys. Thank you so
We'll see you
much.
next week.
We will see you next week. Take care. Be safe. Bye.